There we go. It says we're live. Says we're live. I'm gonna do here. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. KP here, Pastor KP. I know you all have not seen me on here in this capacity in a while because transition and all. I'm just gonna do some quick groundwork here, and then I'll get to some of the things that we're gonna talk about. So one, we have some new faces. We have with us here two individuals. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves. I'm going to ask Lenny to start first.
All right. I am Pastor Leonard Newton. I am a pastor here in Southeastern Conference. I've been pastoring in this conference for roughly 17 years. What is it? 9 churches I've pastored in Southeastern, all across the state of Florida. It's truly a blessing to be a part of this broadcast.
Yay, that's Pastor Newton. Next.
And I am Pastor Garth Doughton, and I'm here in South Florida, sunny South Florida, pastoring in Southeastern Conference. I've been in Canada. I've been on the West Coast, and now I'm in sunny South Florida. So it's been many years of ministry. I'm just excited and happy to be here this morning, or this afternoon rather, to be able.
All right. So we have Pastor Newton and Pastor Doughton. Shout outs to the guys who we normally have on here. We may see them every now and then pop in. John Scott, CJ, Andrew Thomas, right? Those guys are in Canada, of course. But here we chop up, different things in our society, and also, as it affects our churches as well. And we got a lot to talk about. We don't, we're not gonna go for very long, but we definitely wanna, have a conversation about what's going on in our world, in our society, man. So how you guys been? You guys all right?
Man, fantastic.
Doing well. Cannot complain in this crazy COVID, racially tense world. Doing it as well as I can be. So,
all right. Yeah, listen, I'm enjoying myself here in Florida. I'm not gonna lie. Listen, I'm enjoying it. Right? It's the weather alone. The weather alone is. All right. I'm constantly posting little things, whether it's a sugar cane or it's not mango season, but mangoes when I get them or whatever the case is. And just, showing a different side of ministry. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I told you, living in Florida, it has its perks, but you're going to get tired of the mangoes and the sugar cane because the members, every Sabbath, when the season comes, they're going to be giving it to you, and you're going to have more mangoes than you know what to do with it. So.
Oh, man. Praise the Lord.
That's what I'm trying to tell him, guys. Listen,
all right.
He's saying, okay, we'll see.
It's like apples. You like apples, but somebody gives you a box full of apples. You'll be like, okay, thank you. But you'll see. You'll get used to it. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Florida's wonderful. So.
So if for all of you watching, if you drop comments in here, of course, we'll catch the comments and put it on screen. If it's nice, if it's a nice comment, right? Nothing crazy. You can follow. We're all on social media, right? You guys, you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook as well. Okay, so Lenny's on Facebook, Garth is on Facebook, and they're both on Instagram. Your Instagram handles are pretty much your names, right?
Pretty much.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm terrible with it, but I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
It's okay. The honesty. We want the honesty here, man. We want the honesty. And in terms of what I'm dropping, I'm coming to you from is from Free Doulas TV, both on YouTube and on my Facebook page, right? So you can hit me up there, and we're gonna be here regularly. We're gonna try to be here as regular as possible.
So I see some comments. I don't know if you can post them. Yeah, and unfortunately, the one guy who's supposed to be with us is Pastor Lewis. He's saying, "I see you guys. You should be on here. We invited you, but okay, maybe next time."
Shout outs to Prince. All right.
Pastor
Our youth
Louis.
director,
He's the
Pastor.
youth director of our conference, but I
Yes.
think that he, he's too big for us. I don't know. So,
He's got some coconuts right now.
yeah.
Shout outs to Gates as well, man. Oh my goodness. All right. So we got a few things to talk about. The most obvious would be, we're operating in COVID-19 right now, guys. And you know, with the emergence of COVID came the emergence of the vaccine. As pastors, we're pressed, we're pushed. Individuals want to get our opinion on it and things of that nature. And lots of things have been happening. I can cue it up by just saying a few things, right? Of course, the emergence of Pfizer. We have the emergence of Pfizer um, with their vaccine, the mRNA vaccine, Moderna, and I'm deliberately listing all of these guys, right? Moderna, Johnson and Johnson, AstraZeneca. I was just reading an article today where GlaxoSmithKline, they're coming out with one for both COVID and the variant or the strain, then that new mutation or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Gilead Science and Novavax. No, you maybe here you're not really hearing about Novavax, but I just read that Justin Trudeau in Canada there just I think signed a deal to get the Novavax vaccine.
Oh.
And just in terms of a plethora of companies, right? One article. These are the regular news outlets. When individuals check them out, Pfizer is projected $15 billion, right? Lots of money involved. Masks are involved. The tests that you have to do. There's money to be made all around. I see all of these fancy looking like clear. I don't know if you see these commercials with these clear masks now.
Mm-hmm.
Individuals are in terms of Adventists. I see a lot of Adventists who have, taken the shots. I don't know if they only got one or two because there's a whole individuals have only got one. They're waiting this long period to get the second one, and they're posting pictures, rolling out the arm. One person, and I saved the message. One person put up on here that I hope I don't have to take another one, but they're saying, yeah, you're gonna have to take a booster, right?
Now, I just heard this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It was mentioned that companies like Walgreens are
Yeah.
not in on the game. That they're going to be giving the vaccines.
Uh-huh.
I think it was Dr. Fauci who says that he's inviting more companies to distribute the vaccine.
Right.
So this thing has a whole lot of money to be made right now, and
Right.
everyone seems to be cashing in on it.
Mm-hmm. I oh, sorry, I don't know if you wanted to say anything on that, Lenny, or
No, I mean, at the end of the day, listen, I really hope that the vaccine works. I really do. But at the end of the day, the Bible says it best. 1 Timothy 6, the love of money is the root of all evil. And this
there it is.
pandemic,
Mhm.
I mean, as quiet as it's kept, a lot of billionaires are making even more money because of this pandemic. These pharmaceutical companies are going to make millions, billions of dollars because of this vaccine, the pandemic. And everyone is excited about this vaccine, but again, it's not really tested. The people who are taking it are the guinea pigs. It's one thing for it to be FDA approved and what is it, EUA approved,
FDA, CDC, and NIH.
Yes.
But the EUA is the emergency use authorization, right?
Yes.
And like you said, with so much money to be made, I think individuals are ignoring Pfizer and their terrible history, right?
Yes. Yes.
No, but you see, this is a conversation I think we should have, right? I'm not at, individuals are called anti-vaxxers or you're not scientific. As a matter of fact, like I said, some Adventists on here, one of our, I won't call a name, but one of our Adventist, pastor put up on here, some dude who did a TikTok, and he just shared it, basically calling people mother effers for not taking the
Yeah.
vaccine.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never seen so many different individuals who Adventists, anyways, who all of a sudden they've become spokespersons for Pfizer and Moderna,
Mhm.
right? Spokespersons for all of these, and if you ask questions like, okay, why is it the only solution is what these companies say,
Yeah.
but you don't hear of any other solution. The only solution is 7 billion people in the world, and 7 billion people must take the vaccines here.
Mm.
Number two, I think we also have to take note of the fact that YouTube, Facebook, and also Twitter, social media in general, they're suppressing voices
Yeah.
of credible doctors,
Mm.
right? I'll shout out, Dr. Paul Merrick. His voice needs to be heard. We're not hearing Paul Merrick, right? We need to hear Dr. Pierre Corey. The gentleman was testifying in front of the Senate committee almost to the point of tears, saying that tons of people are dying, and he was calling for the NIH to review a drug called ivermectin, right? And that drug, by the way, I don't know if you guys know, it's used in Brazil, Argentina, South Africa, Romania, Egypt, right? But and it's on the NIH website, and for all the credible sites like the what you call the Lancet, the medical journal site there, the Lancet and other, they talk about a drug like that. So money being the root of all evil, I think we can't ignore the history of these companies, and Johnson and Johnson is another one that's emerging,
And
right?
they just had a lawsuit not too long ago, Johnson and Johnson.
I don't know if it's still ongoing, but yeah.
And these companies, they have a history of abuse,
Yeah,
especially on people of color.
right.
So we've got to be mindful that we want to be able to be helpful and be vaccinated and all,
Right.
but these companies are very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
These drug companies are very powerful, and they control a lot of what happens in this country,
Yeah.
and in Canada, to decide which company gets to push the vaccine and which vaccine actually gets to be placed on the market. So we
Right.
have all of that.
Yeah. Politicians have stocks in some of these companies,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can't have that conflict of interest. I think these are things that individuals can easily Google and check out and verify to see if it's so. But people are so fearful. Fearful. No, they're the only persons we need to listen to are these companies and their scientists, and no other scientists. Dolores Cahill, she is an immunologist.
Yeah.
She's a molecular biologist, right? And there are tons of other voices that no individuals are not hearing because social media is suppressing them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And,
And
and I mean, and that's the thing. And you said it, that just do your own research. When you look
yeah,
at some of these companies, Pfizer being fined $2.3
hmm
billion for immoral pharmaceutical practices,
hmm
for them experimenting
Mm.
on African children,
Yeah.
for them being, I guess, sued for bad medicine. And again, they used to pay doctors to prescribe drugs that they know did not work. And so when you look at this, and Moderna, of course, never successfully created a vaccine, but yet now somehow they're going to, during this worldwide pandemic, amazingly come up with a vaccine so quick. And so, and again, like you were stating, there are individuals who've done research before Moderna has even come up
right.
with this vaccine, that, mRNA, some people believe that, this way, doing vaccines this way, that
hmm
your body will turn on itself. You'll get
Right.
autoimmune diseases, and so you just have to do the research yourself. Now, of course, do I hope this vaccine works? Yes.
Yeah. I
and
hope
I'm
so
going to
too.
wait till everybody takes it.
Yeah.
and then hopefully it works. I'm hoping it works, but you just have to do your research yourself.
I'm gonna throw a wrinkle in that though. One, Bill Gates is on CNBC, you name it, all the major news outlets and all that. He's predicting another
Yeah,
pandemic.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I, I mean, I think we need to give him his prophetic card now, and he's predicting another pandemic, right? And then there is another guy, I think it's Michael Osterholm or something like that. I think he's a dude that was involved in the Biden transition, right? He's saying that the pandemic that's coming is a category 5.
Oh, wow. Wow.
A category 5, right? So you have once again, and the whole idea of a vaccine passport, a vaccine passport. So basically, the idea is that for you to travel, they're not suggesting, tech companies are developing a vaccine passport. Once again, this is not some whacked out idea or far fetched, but individuals are just like this and they're like this. No, it's not the case. Canada is Canada. This is what Canada is doing right now. They've banned all flights to the Caribbean, and as far as I know, not Europe, but to the Caribbean and Mexico. And they are, if you come back in the country, $2,000 for a 3-day stay in a hotel of their choice. Now, did we ever think that we would see something like this in our day and age? It's just incredible.
Well,
It's just incredible.
again, though, that's being run by those who are in power, those who are having investments, that they're deciding that, hey, I can make a whole lot of money off these individuals, and now they're targeting, and they're not hiding the fact that they're targeting individuals who are struggling. These folks who are struggling, man, like coming from the Caribbean or wherever, they're just trying to the country to see how they can make it, and there's a history of doing good in these countries.
Right.
They're putting these blockades, these parameters there, these things there to stop individuals from being able to progress, and they're making a whole lot of money off of it, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Small businesses are dying,
yeah,
right? And the big ones, the Amazons are still operating, the Walmarts are operating, and all these different things. People are being depressed in terms of financially speaking. So that and once again, I think individuals, one, are so fearful, and for especially for Christians, I'm speaking Christians in general, but also Adventists included in that too, that they can't believe the things that they're seeing right now, and they really trust governments and they trust the pharmaceutical companies to the point where, no, anybody who's speaking on it, you're not a scientist, forget what you say. And like I said, I have never seen so many Adventists going on there rolling up I'm doing this for the community, I'm doing this for the community, and all that sort of stuff. What about, I haven't seen these individuals talk about, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, right? Or the second coming of Jesus Christ. I don't see anything like that. But yeah, I think, like, we have to talk about these things, because as pastors, we have to deal with it. People come to us. I don't know what kind of situations you guys have been facing in your churches, but some people want us to say something about it.
Yeah.
But I said, no, I'm not a spokesperson for any of them, right?
Yeah.
That's a decision that you're gonna have to make. I don't know what your interactions have been like.
I mean, yeah, it's been the same thing. I think one Sabbath I did speak somewhat on it, and then of course I've gotten some backlash and being
How dare
irresponsible.
you?
Yeah, being very irresponsible, and it's hard because there is a lot of facts out there that needs to be shared,
Yeah.
but then at the same time, I hate to say it, we don't know if it works. We
Right.
really don't know. Hopefully it works. We don't know what's going to be the long-term effects. I hate to quote a movie, but it's funny that I don't know if you remember the movie I Am Legend, right?
Yeah.
and supposedly it happened around this time, and it was because of the vaccines why there was some type of outbreak. And so I'm not saying that's what's going to happen,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's really hard because there are a lot of members who want to take it. There are a lot of members. You hear all types of crazy stuff. Like this pandemic was started because of the Pope. You hear all types of stuff, and you have to kind of speak out on some of this stuff. That's like, no, folk. And so, is it a man-made pandemic? You hear there's so many different theories out there because
Yeah.
the world is overpopulated. They're trying to kill off people. This is a way for businesses to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting. And as a pastor, you got to be very careful which side you lean on. And so, yeah.
Well, I think that one of the interesting things is that even as crazy as some of those things you hear, right, are, everybody's just wondering, how the heck does this happen? There's no money out there for anybody, but yet, Bezos is the second richest person. Elon Musk is the first. Bill Gates is the third. And going back once again to Gates, he's saying there's a second one coming, and we are about to go on 1 year being restricted. March coming, 1 year, and Dr. Fauci is saying he's looking for later on in 2021. So we're looking at the potential of 2 years with these heavy restrictions.
And even then, what's amazing is that with this vaccine and the variants that are out there, the South African variant, they're saying that, man, this vaccine, it doesn't look like it's strong enough to deal with the South African variant, and so we don't even know what's going to happen. But I'm sorry, Pastor Dot.
Go ahead, Gart.
Hey, I was thinking because I have a dilemma, and my dilemma is that for many individuals, they're asking if we are going to be able to make our seniors, those who are considered vulnerable, put the word out there that they should take this vaccine. And in my own mind, I'm kind of, I'm in the struggle. The struggle as to should we actually even put this thing out there to place folks under our care to take this vaccine? Should we even promote this thing? Because we don't know if this thing is going to work. We don't know if it's even working. It may take a little while before we see the after effects or the effects of it. Yet it's being by society. And I struggle with even the word vulnerable. And I keep hearing that thrown around, even on the news, that most vulnerable. And I'm saying, well, who are the most vulnerable? And who determines that? So that's where I am right now.
I agree. I have a huge problem with that. Black folks are placed in that vulnerable category. The old in that vulnerable category. And of course, as that, when Bill and Melinda Gates did that interview in the Time magazine, they listed it, right? Healthcare workers first, or frontline workers, Black folks, not just here in North America, but all around the world, Black people, right? Then the elderly, and then everybody else, right? And I cannot ignore for most of the poor countries, they don't have food shortages. They don't have proper drinking water and things of that nature. I don't see these individuals promoting those things. But when they are projecting something like a vaccine on these individuals, on these poor countries, on individuals in a vulnerable situation, Black folks still don't have proper health care, right? I don't see that being rallied around, but you want us to give it to the poor. And you can't ignore, like, Norway, 33 now. It's 33 elderly people died. And Pfizer's response was, this was expected, and it's not alarming. That's what they said. It was expected. So, this whole Darwinistic mentality that I see here, and an individual, well, for the greater good, if some die, there's some risk to it. You see, if it happened to my family members, I'm broken. I'm sad, right? If something happens like that, but because it's not happening to some of our people, then
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to necessarily harp on this too much, but I just wanted to get it off my chest. And for one, social YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, any other social media engine, stop suppressing the voices of credible doctors, scientists, right? Stop suppressing their voices. Listen to these individuals because they have a heart for people just as much as Pfizer and Moderna is claiming to have a heart. I don't know if it's the CEO for Pfizer or Moderna who said that he's not going to jump the line. I want him to jump the line. I want him to be first in line to go whoever it was to go take this vaccine. No, it's okay. I want you to be first. You should be up there. So like I said, there are other things out there that can help this pandemic, but it is being suppressed, right? Ivermectin is one. The NIH on their website, you go there, they say we cannot deny or confirm, right? But the data is out there, tons of data on just that one thing alone. I know individuals who are taking that thing, right? So
Hey,
it's
here's something.
go ahead.
I heard even this morning that that after you take the first dose, that they track you and then determine whether or not you are eligible for the second dose. And
Okay.
I'm clear on what those standards are that they're going to be using to trace whether or not you're eligible to get the second dose. But it's concerning. There are a lot of unanswered questions with this vaccine that still exist. And I wondered if we're being used as guinea pigs, which I most likely think we are at this point. Which is really a concern for many of us and should be a concern for those listening on also.
I mean, it's really crazy. That's why you just have to do the research yourself. You got to pray about this thing. Again, I hope it works. I'm not saying that it doesn't. I really hope it works, but there's just a lot of things that are out there that cause you to to scratch your head, to be fearful. And I don't think that there is a blanket answer that we can say right now. As pastors, is really difficult. It really, really is difficult right now. So,
all right, yeah, man. But yeah, stop suppressing the information. Let those doctors speak. That's it. Just let them speak. All right. In terms of our churches now, and outside of COVID-19 and the vaccines and all that, and how is it going? Like how how are people responding? What's ministry like? We're still battling our way through social media for the two churches that I'm dealing with, learning the new equipment and what works and all these different things. Of course, the shout outs to the youth and young adults, because these individuals are sort of like driving ministry right now. And we've had a problem in this church when it comes to those things. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, go ahead, Pastor.
Oh no, you go ahead, preacher.
Yeah, well, I mean, it like I said, it's this whole pandemic is a curse and a blessing, of course, because of social media now. A lot of times you're able to reach a certain amount of people, but because now we're airing on social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you're able to triple, quadruple the amount of people that you're reaching. And so you're not just impacting your city or your community, but you're sometimes impacting people in other countries, which is a blessing. And from time to time, we would see people watching us from Indonesia, from the UK, which is a blessing. And we see how what God said, that, until this message is preached to all the world, then will the end come, that we're able to spread this gospel. And that's a wonderful thing. However, at the same time, church is like a community. And so a lot of people are lonely. A lot of people are depressed because they can't interact and see people anymore. I think people's health are impacting them because, that social interaction is not there. And that's a challenge. So that is a challenge. You got to try to do different things to try to reach out to people. But then at the same time, when you do different events, people are just so happy they forget about this pandemic. They want to hug and greet
Yeah,
one
yeah,
another.
yeah.
And so, sometimes you have that. That's a challenge, and I've seen that even at my own church. And so, it's we can all recall, because we were all at Oakwood at the same time, and with Pastor Doggett always saying, like, there's no textbook for the times that we're living in, right? There's no textbook. Cleveland syllabus can't help you during this time. This is what Pastor Doggett was saying. And surely right now there is no book to do in ministry. It's just prayer. It's because we're all trying to find new ways of how we do this. And so that's where I am right now. So scratching my head and praying, Lord, how can I reach the masses? So
I feel you, preacher. I'm with you 100%. I mean, COVID has presented many positives, though, in the same way that we're able to reach so many people, to people from like Pakistan and even Dubai and places like that I've never thought that we would be able to minister to, who are reaching out on social media and connecting in different ways. And I really have to say, God has done a great work in being able to connect with so many people around the world. And then there's this hard part of COVID that is done to the church, where we're kind of fragmented, where people are. And last week we were filming at church live, and someone was at the door, and it was this lady with her son. She came to church. She said it's just too intense. She just felt too isolated, and she was at the door saying, "I need to get in. I just need to sit in the church. I just need to hear the service because I just can't take it anymore." And so that's what we're experiencing now, because individuals are feeling this tension, being socially isolated for so long away from the church. And so, at some point we're praying and hoping that this thing would end and we'd be able to come back together and worship together once again. So there is that isolation that is happening, that is really doing a disservice to the entire world and to every.
That's that. I totally agree. No, continue. I was just saying I agree.
I think about Nevada, that had to reopen schools, some schools, because of the suicide rate. That increased.
You don't hear that, and once again, because the media outlets are just like, oh, it's coming again. You don't hear information like this.
Wow. But it's happening everywhere. I mean, the suicide among teenagers is increasing everywhere. And there's a reason for that. It's because they're isolated. We're social beings. We're social beings. Be cooped up at home, locked away, just watching television or screen, and to actually interact. And so when that is becomes a problem, then you find an increase in anxiety and stress and depression and all these other stuff. So
abuse has risen as well. Whether it's physical, sexual, whatever, the abuse has risen. All of these things, and we have to pastor in these times. We have to comfort family members, lost loved ones. They can't go. I have to do house dedications on Zoom, right? I don't
talk about funerals now. The whole aspect of a funeral, grief in that time, are like really down, and you're only allowed to have a few people there to grieve with you.
That's difficult.
Man, these are some trying times we live right now.
Yeah, that's really difficult. Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure as preachers, you guys are probably having to do more marital counseling sessions. People are the couples are stuck at home. You think that would be a good thing, but for some, it's kind of rough. And so you're having to do that, and that's really rough. So it's good for some families. For my family, it's just, especially when it comes to Sabbath, now I'm able to eat Sabbath lunch every Sabbath.
Right.
Before we can testify, that's not how it is. It's not just an intimate moment. It's a beautiful thing, But of course, some people aren't able to see their loved ones for Christmas
Right.
and Thanksgiving and these different monumental events. And so there's pros and cons. And so a lot more cons.
A lot
So,
more cons, and if we are believers in the Bible, if we understand, the evil powers that are at work here,
yeah,
you can dismiss and talk about we're unscientific and we're this as much as you want, but if you are a Bible believing Christian, you understand the evil that's at work here, because it's not just about a vaccine, as we've just identified. There are lots of things happening, but that's not mainstream news. And when you are in the battlefield, when you're on the ground, you see all sides. You see the sides where people are dying, and you see, socially speaking, people are being damaged. But yeah, that's, in terms of, like I said, in terms of utilizing technology and all that, we're still battling around it. Still having to educate our folks on the etiquettes of social media. they, they, they want to say anything and do anything, and I said, folks, you can't do that. Well, they do it, but a lot of times I have to be talking to my leaders and letting them know that we have to manage this thing a little bit better, right? And but the things that they say and the things that they do, oh Lord. I've yet to get the naked experience. Somebody just happened to be on camera, all nude and stuff, but
No.
you get everything else. You get everything else on there, man. Arguments, shutting, all type of things.
But preacher, the youth are doing a fantastic job.
yeah,
Yes, they are.
Quite honestly, what I experienced a little while ago is we have one young guy there, man, in the background.
How old is he? How old is he?
He's just a teenager, just barely. He's a tween. I think he's more like 12.
Oh my goodness!
Controlling the whole thing in the background, man. So
Yeah.
I'm loving the fact that we're seeing young people actually take a stand, coming forward, being able to show their far-reaching capability and prowess in terms of social media. Like
Yeah.
I'm excited for this time, because I'm seeing the young people rising up and taking this bull by the horn and taking control of the leadership in the church. And the older folks don't know anything about it. They can't hang, but I know the young people are loving it. So I'm just thrilled with this era. I'm thrilled.
Shout outs to all the young people, man, doing their thing. All right. I'm not gonna call any names, but yeah, we got some young ones over by my spot too, trying to get it done. And anything else you wanted to talk about in terms of the church and what we're dealing with in whether it's leadership side? How are the elders? They're doing good?
Man, the elders, honestly, the elders are showing their leadership skills.
Right.
And for me, at least, I'm seeing the eldership that are strong. They're taking ownership of the church. They're not waiting for anyone to kind of dictate what's going to happen.
Right.
So, but then again, I do have a lot of young elders at the churches. So I think that's probably a catalyst behind their drive. They're wanting the church to succeed in this era. Mind you, there are some that were just scared. They were at risk, high risk, so they
right.
took a back stand. And some of the younger set had to take ownership. So it's actually a good thing, because what we're seeing, even for the leadership, is that the leadership who are not high risk actually coming forward, when before they were not. And for the lack of a better analogy, I like basketball. So it's like in the clutch, there are certain key players that come out in the clutch.
Yeah.
The clutch always, the playoffs. That's when some key players actually taking the stand. And what we're seeing right now in the church is that clutch period. And leadership taking stand. And those who are older, they can sit on the sidelines and kind of just watch to make sure, add their input and make sure the game is going well. In the same way, the older set who have served and given their time, they can kind of step back a little bit and allow for the younger set now to just kind of show their skills. And
that's the part I'm encouraging. We're not, it's not that we're trying to push your side or say that you're not relevant. I think your wisdom, your experience comes into play, but allow these young ones to, with your guidance, to take the helm.
Yeah.
Everything is going to be all right. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I'm with you with that. That's the same thing that I've seen. That my elders are really faithful and active, and being a part of some of our broadcasts, and so it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see people take ownership, and so and I would even say you see some of the leaders take even more ownership during this pandemic than during regular times, and so that's beautiful. But I do want to ask this question to you guys. So, what's your thought on GC being pushed back to 2022?
I'm not gonna say I understand all the decisions that went into that. When I first heard it, my initial thoughts were, okay, well, a lot of people are doing, huge organizations are doing things online now.
Mm-hmm.
So why couldn't we? I had other, other thoughts that I won't necessarily share as to, well, isn't the head man going to be in charge until, um so those are some of the things I was thinking. I was wondering why, because I know in our churches a lot of times we do certain things when it comes to sorry, it's hard for us to adjust to a certain thing, right? Because we have ignored it for a very long time. Looking at technology specifically, we've ignored technology for a very long time, right? And now that it's on us now with COVID-19, we're forced to jump into this situation. Governments are now doing things online. Like I said, huge organizations are doing things online. So I'm not understanding why it is that we're not able to still, go through the process, right? And we have to push it. We may never get back in. So what do we do then?
I think what is exposing is the fact that our system of governance is archaic.
Okay.
It's exposing that, and we need an update. And maybe this is a note for the leadership on a whole to revise a lot of what we have used as our area of governance. That this is a time for us to really explore new ways of doing things. Whereas it has been a blessing because altering meetings, it should show us that we could have cut the budget a long time ago.
Yeah.
Budgetary standpoint, individuals at GC didn't need to have a $85 million travel budget, just to throw that out there.
Right.
But what is showing also is that our leadership needs to know that it can change, and we don't need to be now stuck with another 2, maybe even 3 or more years of the same leadership, because we don't have an area of governance to make a change if we wanted to.
Yeah.
That's really unacceptable at this point, to just keep pushing it back. And when it gets to 22, will we then push it back even more because we didn't invent or start or even look at having another system? So how far are we going to keep pushing it back? Is it till the next 4 or 5 years until we're kind of out of this, or till the entire world is then vaccinated? There has to be some system that we got to explore to allow for a process to continue where we can actually have an election without bringing everybody into one city.
Right.
It has to be a different process.
Yeah. So, and I do want to say that is the beautiful thing. Well, again, pandemic is terrible, but I'm sure all of you guys can testify having these Zoom meetings are a lot easier.
Oh yeah.
A lot better.
Oh yeah.
I love these. I mean, and in fact, even my board members said, Pastor, when the pandemic's over, no, let's stick with these Zoom meetings.
Yes,
get a lot more accomplished.
Yeah.
And it's a lot faster, and so that's good. Now, I do have a different take on this whole GC, the pushing back, because in Adventism culture, GC is a big thing. You have a lot of individuals who save for years just to go to GC. I know my grandfather used to be a Adventist pastor, and he used to take his family to GC, and so I know that people are hoping to be able to have GC, because, you know, thousands upon thousands of people congregate together. And it is a beautiful event. You know, I hate to put you out there, Kenton, Pastor Perrin, but you found your wife at GC. So let's be good. That there was no gathering. There would be no Mrs. and Mr. Perrin.
That was before the pandemic.
Yeah, that was before the pandemic, and so good things do happen with the gathering of the believers together. So
no, like in terms of, you know, I appreciate that perspective, and like I said, I don't know. I mean, I'm not normally following a lot of the things that's happening. It's just, you know, that went out to everyone in general. And so that, you know, we all know, okay, this is going to be, you know, first it was 2020, we understand. 2021, no, okay, we're going to 2022 type thing. And I'll take both. I understand, you know, maybe in a limited way, we could still do it with the with the numbers. But I still think, because in our denomination, in our organization, you know, the whatever the churches are struggling with, it's happening at the top too. Technology is an issue at the lower level. It's an issue all the way through. Right? It's not just the churches struggling. I think they may have a little bit more money than the churches at the various levels. So some equipment that we have to wait a little bit and try to figure out, financially speaking, they can just get it like that, right? But they have to make some adjustments, just like how the church is doing it too.
And you know, let me hit that what Garth said. That was a great point. Is that there are thousands upon thousands of dollars that conferences, the union, the division, the GC is spending on traveling. The good thing is, you know, because of this pandemic, they need to funnel these monies to the local level. You know,
send it down, baby. Send it
down to help ministry at the grassroots. And so this is good. Have we seen that money come down? No, we have not. But well, hopefully, you know, we work for the church. I love the church. Hopefully they'll try to do that. You know, as this pandemic continues, they'll start to push the money down, because was very fascinating, amazing. Even though we're not meeting as a church, the tithe is still going up, you know, for Southeastern Conference and what I've seen in Southern Union, the tithe is going up.
The Adventist thing, man, I don't know. You just put us in some struggles, boy, and that money just climbs.
Yeah, it's still going up. And so, but hopefully the money, while it goes up, it can come down to the local level. That's what we hope for. So,
and shout outs to the members for being faithful during this time, man. Shout outs to all the Adventist folks for, I mean, my church has seen an increase as well, man. Shout outs to all of them for what they're doing and for staying faithful and committed to the Lord in that area.
People believe in the work that the church is doing. That's right there. That individuals believe, especially in their local church, they believe. They can see it at work. They can see that we're there with the community. We're helping out. We're feeding the community. We're going to whatever agencies we need to, advocating for young people and for seniors and for families. We're doing the work, and so that's why individuals, when they look at that, they're like, "Man, I'm not going to just hold back. I'm still going to give and support this local entity." And so that's a blessing in itself. What we're hoping though, and what we're seeing, and I would hope that that the GC would revise some things in terms of our manual. We don't even have a media ministry as part of our board. Like, we don't even have a media ministry that's recognized in our church manual. And now that is probably one of the most important ministries in the church.
Can I say something on that? And this might be something that others are doing and have done, and it's just me. But for my elders meetings and my board meetings, or any other major meeting that I have, just like how you have the treasurer's report that is consistently on the budget, right now, technology or production, whatever name you want to call it, that remains on all of my agendas. Because, and you know, if we have all the equipment, then they're still going to come and report about analytics. How can we
Yeah. Yeah.
utilize the fact that we have thousands of subscribers for some churches, right? How can we utilize that in a financial manner, right? The CCI license, for example, you need to have that so that you can get rid of all well, not strikes, but the copyright claims, that because we use music on a regular and all these different things. Information like this, we constantly have to be aware of, and so whatever I get, I try to implement. But that major thing that you mentioned there, in terms of, it's just a part of my agenda, right? Even if there's nothing to say, right? We just say it's going good, but it doesn't leave the agenda. I just made sure my clerks and my secretaries are having it there all the time.
That's right. That's right. What about online membership? Like, there are individuals now who don't even, they're not a part of the church. They
Right.
watch online on YouTube, but they're not a member of any church. Like, but they like this,
Yeah.
like Pastor Perrin's ministry, and they want to be
Mhm.
part of his church, but
Right.
never been to any congregation. Like, we don't even have the setup to allow for someone like that to become like an honorary member or a fine member of this congregation. Maybe they're in a different state and they want to be a part of that church as compared to another church. There's not even a platform that we can even utilize to even identify those individuals, or actually note that they actually exist and are part of our church family. So
Right.
that I think we really have to go back and
Yeah.
flesh out, because I think we're missing the masses of people worldwide.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a great point that you
It
just
is.
brought up, because I really do believe that once this pandemic is over, church will never be the same.
I don't want it to be. Yeah.
And so we're really going to have to rethink, spending thousands upon thousands of dollars on the building, and
Yeah.
then possibly on media, and because I think a lot of people are going to get used to this. And like you said, right now, some of us, we have more non-members watching our church service than our own members, which
Yeah.
is a beautiful thing. And we just is rethinking the church. We got to throw out our old manuals and come up with new ways of doing things and reaching people and keeping this following that we have right now at the church. So
2,000 subscribers for my bigger church, right? And not all of them are Seventh Day Adventists. I know that for sure. Granted, I haven't checked it all out, but I know for sure not all of those 2,000 subscribers are Seventh Day Adventists.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
definitely,
And then you have individuals who are former members, people
right.
who left. A lot of them are watching now, which is
Mhm.
amazing. And so it's a beautiful thing. And it just presents us with more challenges. And we just have to, as group of ministers, we got to put our heads together. Like, what can we do? So
Indeed. And it's
yeah.
some trying times.
One last item before we wrap up, right? I know, Lenny, we all got things to do, so I don't want to hold us here. And I know people might be wanting to go watch something else. So the Washington riots, that has opened up, well, let me not say it opened up a can of worms. I think it's been open. It's
Yes. Yes.
with Trumpism, or the
Mhm.
cult of Trump, or we're dealing with, it's Black History Month, right?
Mhm.
And we're still dealing with racism and all that sort of stuff. Some people were trying to say it's about an election, but how things are playing out right now is letting us know that this had nothing to do with an election. Even if there were some, the majority of individuals there, race was heavily involved. Police officers were involved.
Mhm.
Well documented in the media. I'm not making this stuff up, right? We just have a Supreme Court judge's wife apologizing, right, for what she for the part that she played. Okay, we have and you have one black guy I know of who is still in jail, as far as I know, and then white individuals are being let out. Um, I, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's I don't
Yeah.
know. What can we say? I mean,
It's the reality of I know in Canada, y'all don't have to deal with stuff like this, right? I'm just joking.
It's not as
I'm just
blatant. It's not as
I'm just
blatant.
joking. But I mean, it just, of course, it just reminds us that it's two different Americas. Just to see the double standard, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, with the Trump administration, people were able to show how they really feel,
Yeah.
and people are very excited about the fact that what is it called, that Biden won, but it's still what is it? There was still like over 70 million Americans who voted
We voted for it.
for
It's
Trump.
crazy.
It was still somewhat close, and so.
Yeah.
But this is the state. This is where we live. Seeing the police officers open up the barricades for the people to come in, and this was really planned. I hope that they come down very hard on these individuals. I just read, I think this morning, one of the rioters at the Capitol, he took his life. Because I guess they're starting to come down and crack the whip. But this the domestic terrorism, it's really a crazy time, and prophecy says it's going to get worse. I can
Yeah.
only imagine how it will get worse, but I think it will get worse. And I really hope that with Biden, he does not push this thing so far, to from one side to the other side, Trump pushing it to one side to the other side. And the reason being, I was so happy that Obama became president, but he did push the envelope, and that's why we have a Trump, and so I hope that Biden does not do that. And that's the thing, because I think is it today that they just was it today or yesterday they announced that first transgender or yeah.
Well, Pete Buttigieg
Yeah.
has a position, plus plus the first transgendered
Yes.
person as well.
Yes, so you see this, and hopefully they don't push it so far that we have to, in 4 years or maybe 8 years we come back to this, because
and the third thing too, Lenny, in terms of the executive order that he signed, allowing transgendered individuals to now take part in female races.
See, I didn't know that. See, this
yeah.
we probably gonna go back to another situation like that. Another quack, because people are so angry that it's being pushed to pushing too far to the left. So yeah,
wow. Man, I mean, that's an interesting question. You alluded to the race riots there, or the riots rather, in Washington, and I think it's
and sorry, Garrett, let me interrupt you. And one of the reasons I'm bringing it up is because of the divide that we see in Christendom, right? In the church, like Adventists who are arguing pro, so that racial element as well as that religious element, it scares me when I see us messing with the politics and religion, and that's one of the reasons I'm bringing it up.
But it has always existed. It's just that we haven't addressed it. What I experienced, and I'm speaking personally from those experiences, is that a few months ago, when we were on the streets marching because of what happened with George Floyd, you had all this militarized police officers there. They didn't hold back on shooting tear gas.
It's terrible.
They didn't hold back on shooting rubber bullets when they felt the crowd was a bit intimidating, because we were chanting too much. No justice, no peace. So they didn't hold back. But what I saw was a different America, one where individuals can pride themselves on privilege to the point where they can walk right in and Nancy Pelosi's chair, like
a lectern.
Crazy.
Bro, if I even attempted to walk up those steps, you would be burying me right now.
Yeah.
You would be. I would be in the casket.
Garth was a great guy. He was a great guy. That's what
he stood for principle.
Yeah.
That's all you be hearing. And I'm saying, wow, like we just stood on the streets and said, no justice, no peace.
Right.
And here you have individuals cursing out the president, or what would be the incoming president, walking right in, sitting on the chair. I mean, raising insurrection. In other words, that's treason, bro.
Yeah.
That's treason.
And the politicians who are involved with it as well, pushing, Mr. Hawley, shout outs to him, shout outs to Ted Cruz and all these individuals who are, and I'm unfortunately, some of them might be genuine in terms of, genuine in their racism, but I think they're mixed into this as power. They want control. They want, to be the next guy, the next leader of the GOP, right? But yeah, it's just the part where Christians are like so caught up in it. Granted, the Seventh Adventists, we normally are a little bit tempered in terms of what we say, but you online, man, they're like, what happened to blue lives? Blue lives matter and all that's. But yet, two police officers are dead as a result of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I know of definitely one. But
one,
yeah,
okay, all right.
I know of one. It's probably two. You're right, but I definitely know of one.
Seventh-day Adventists are not tame in their position politically.
Mm-hmm.
They appear like they are.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a Democrat, then but the Republican side is definitely not tame.
Yeah.
Being pushed in a lot of the churches has been white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost expected that if you are a Seventh-day Adventist, then you're going to be Republican.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been, any other side being presented until now that you find a lot of Adventists that are saying, wait a minute, I'm not Republican. I'm not traditionally Republican. My family is not Republican, and we're not going to vote Republican.
Yeah.
So now you have this different sides showing its head. And there is this fight that's going internally in the Adventist church. But historically, a lot of Adventists have been Republican, so there hasn't been a discussion.
Wow. Yeah, so that was just interesting to me. One lady came out. She wants to go on vacation with her company, white lady. The girl who stole the laptop, she's back home, right? She's gonna sell it to the Russians.
Crazy.
The amount, the police, the higher ups, told them police officers stand down. So in terms of just let them in. It was just crazy. It's just crazy, and I really didn't. Even though I was watching it, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But the more information came out, I knew for sure. It was just much too easy for folks just to walk up in there, and then you find out people were orchestrating. As a matter of fact, the lady with the bullhorn. Remember that lady with the bullhorn that they're highlighting on the news?
Yeah.
She has 8 kids, and she's now running with the 8 kids from the FBI.
I didn't even hear that.
Yep. It's circulating on social media right now. 8 children, and she's running from the FBI with the 8 kids.
They can find her in Idaho.
Yeah. Oh man, listen, it was nice chopping it up with you guys.
Definitely.
Thanks for being on here. And shout outs to all the folks who've been watching. You can follow any of us on social media. We're on there: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. Check out our church services. Pastor Newton is at Daughter of Zion. Pastor Dotton is at Tabernacle. Right. I'm at Lighthouse and First Ephesus as well. And we try to be real. We try to be as real as possible. We're on here Wednesdays. We're gonna try and be faithful to our 1 o'clock time period. So. But thanks for sharing. Thanks for following us, and we will holler at you next time. All right.
Definitely.
Peace, folks.
Appreciate it.